Welcome to the David Pakman Show. I'm Farron Cousins sitting in for David Pakman today. A lot to talk about, right? All right, yesterday, we had some big primaries in several battleground states across this country. One of the biggest ones, however, was my home state here, the state of Florida, where we actually put up as the Democratic nominee now officially for governor of the state of Florida, Andrew Gillum, who is the first, as of right now, first African American to ever be a major party nominee for the governorship in the state of Florida. That alone is a historic achievement. Not to mention the fact that Gillum had actually raised and spent less money than all of his Democratic rivals in this primary. Add to that the fact that he was the most progressive candidate running for the Democratic side, and you come up with a pretty significant victory. Gillum was endorsed by Bernie Sanders. He supports a Medicare for all. He 100% supports impeachment of Donald Trump, even though that's not something he would be able to do as governor of Florida. But in every way possible, this guy is a true progressive, and his victory was 100% historic. Also on the Democratic side here in the state of Florida, and this is a big deal, Sean Shaw, another African-American, I believe he would also, if he wins, would be the first African-American Attorney General of the state of Florida. So right now we've got some diversity, some much needed diversity on the ballot in the state of Florida, a state that has been under consistent Republican rule for decades now. That says a lot about what's happening down here in the state of Florida. And with these progressive champions that have won their primaries down here, we also have a few heartbreaks, right? Matt Gaetz, the outspoken Trump-supporting congressman from Florida's District 1, unfortunately, where I sit every day, where I live, he won his primary. He won his primary handedly, which means pretty much without a doubt, this man's getting reelected to Congress. My district here, District 1 in Florida, is a plus 22 Republican district. He's going up against a pretty decent Democrat. Zimmerman is her name. And, you know, I like her. I'm going to vote for her because there's no other option. But unfortunately, given the demographics of this area, Gaetz is coming back. He's going to continue to go on Fox News and any other cable news show every opportunity he gets. He's going to be an outspoken Trump supporter still, and he's going to continue to tell us that these are witch hunts and that we need to be investigating Hillary Clinton. Also on the negative side down here in the state of Florida is Ron DeSantis, who has now become the Republican nominee for the governorship. DeSantis, in case you aren't aware, I'm going to give you a little bit of homework here. You need to go look at this ad DeSantis ran, where he takes his infant child and essentially jokingly indoctrinates them into Trumpism. Tries to get them to say, make America great again. The kid's sitting there playing with these big blocks. He says, build the wall. It is one of the creepiest and most disgusting things you could imagine. But Florida's not the only news, right? Okay, we had primaries over in Arizona, another contentious state. You have the open Senate seat. The Republican nominee is going to be Martha McSally. She beat out Joe Arpaio, but in order to do that, she was once considered a moderate Democrat, no Trump lover by any means at one point, she shifted her tone. She had to move even further to the right in order to beat Arpaio and the other Republican challenger, and she ended up getting the endorsement from Donald Trump. So now we have a Trumpist Republican running in Arizona. That one is not a given, although it is still a likely Republican seat, one that the Republicans would hold on to. However, given what's happened with the state of Arizona, specifically John McCain passing recently, the disrespect from the Trump administration to McCain, regardless of what you think about McCain himself or his legacy, it truly was disrespectful what the White House did with regards to McCain. That may come into play in that election. So that's going to be one to pay attention to as the weeks roll forward. Here's what got me, though. You had CNN, writing for CNN, Chris Cillizza, said that here's his headline: Donald Trump was the big winner Tuesday night. Donald Trump was the big winner Tuesday night. That is a headline CNN ran. You know, the alleged network that Trump says just hates him is filled with fake news. They declared him the winner because two people he liked, won their nominations, two people he endorsed. Yeah, that doesn't make him the big winner, especially when one of the people you're obviously talking about is from the state of Florida, Ron DeSantis, when you completely ignore the major victories of people like Andrew Gillum and Sean Shaw. That was the story. Andrew Gillum is the one who was stealing headlines all around the country Tuesday evening. And Cillizza still has the audacity to say Trump's the big winner. Uh-oh, look what's coming his way. No, the folks in Florida stood up against the old guard kind of Democratic establishment down here in the state that continuously loses. They picked the most progressive candidate, the only one running, by the way, who was not super wealthy. A few weeks ago, the NAACP actually held a Democratic candidate forum, and Gillum was the only one that showed up. The other Democratic nominees couldn't be bothered to go to this. Gillum was the only one to show up. And I hope that come November, Gillum is the one that shows up in the Florida governor's mansion. That is what this state needs. As someone who has lived here for my entire life, I can tell you Republican rule is absolutely destroying this state. Maybe not to the extent that we saw it in places like Kansas, which Kansas and Oklahoma also had primaries yesterday. Those are states that the Democrats are actually kind of hopeful that they may be able to flip at least the governorship of Oklahoma. Gonna be tough. There's a lot of races to keep your eyes on. It's difficult at this point to even attempt to, make a prediction of what's going to happen here, what's going to happen there. So all we can base it on is what we have already seen. And what we're seeing, not just here in the state of Florida, but all over this country, is that we are seeing these alleged far left candidates winning. They're winning because they're offering the people what they want to see. They're offering them policies that benefit everyone. And that is something that people are not used to, but it's something that voters in this country have been asking for many, many years. And finally, looks like we're getting some candidates out there who understand that.